have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kosmyna welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world when you hit that play button. So glad you did. It's Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmyna, coming at you with another episode of the Genesis Frequency Podcast, all about personal development, professional development, leadership development, spiritual development, just showing up every day as a better version of ourselves and making those quantum leaps in the direction of our goals and objectives, our desires, aspirations, and the life we would love to live. That's what I'm all about. That's what I do day in and day out through this podcast, through a variety of programs I facilitate as a franchisee of Leadership Management International. Proud to be with them over 65 years now. We have that they've been in business 66. Actually, we just had our annual convention and conference last week, and also a Procter Gallagher consultant ordained in metaphysics and new thought with 3 different organizations, and a whole bunch of School of Hard Knocks life experience under my belt, sorting and filtering through all these laws that are actually at work all the time in our lives, and we have to learn how to cooperate with them. They're not something that works sometimes, they're not something that's optional. It's something that really helps us along this path of life when we're aware of them and we can work in concert and in harmony with them. So that's what I talk about on this show. If you're brand new, welcome in. I encourage you to reach out to me to talk about all this work that I do, or even invite me to speak at your event or in your business, your organization, your ministry, your corporation, your small business, for your group, associations, any of that. I do all kind of speaking all over the world. So love to hear from you on that. Love to invite you into one of our programs. By the way, we do have effective personal productivity. Let's see, this show comes out on Thursday. It's starting, I think it's Friday or Saturday, facilitating this with Tanae. Effective personal productivity. I tell you what, we're going to knock out some major goals in your life. We'll get started on those. We work on a personal goal and a professional goal. But really, what we work on is your daily performance, your productivity, and your priority management, eliminating those distractions that tug at us day in and day out. You want to get involved when this is not an expensive program. You can get started. It's not a long drawn out program. We do it over, I think we do about 8 Zoom sessions with this. You want to get a hold of me right away so I can get you your materials. It's online, it's digital. You have an audio app that comes with it. You have material that you read along with the audio app, and worksheets and a workbook, and all kind of resources and application and action items. And it's high end digital application, and a learning platform on the Absorb platform. So you want to reach out. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you want to knock out and accomplish in your life. We just finished our first quarter. We're in the second quarter. Let's get to it, right? So reach out. Let's continue. Let's get going here. This week, we continue in the new series that I started last week. So if you didn't listen to that one, go back and find it wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can go to the genesisfrequency.com, the website for this show, and you can find it. But what we're doing is we're looking at the power within, and it's coming from one of the works, or one of the authors, I should say, whose work I used extensively in my master's thesis and my doctoral dissertation, Dr. Joseph Murphy, and all his work and transformative ideas found in the subject of the subconscious mind and the power of the subconscious mind and all that transformative ideas, really, that once we really lay a hold of and grasp and apply these in our lives, really make a difference. And I'm telling you, make a profound difference. I can tell you, started working with this stuff when I was working through my trilogy of tribulation. And, that was a long time ago. That was in 2008, and started to work on transforming me and my entire life in every area of my life. And this has been a profound tool, all these teachings. So dig in, take notes, listen, reach out if you want to go deeper, 'cause I do work around all of this. And today what we're talking about in this part two of this series is the law of belief. There's a law of belief. Yes, indeed. Everybody talks about the law of attraction. Hey, talk about the law of attraction. We got the law of attraction is an effect. Very valid, but it's an effect. Attraction is an effect. We have to focus on the laws of causation because cause come first. Everything is in perfect divine order, right? So we're always going to have cause first, then effect, cause and effect. So what's showing up? Well, we got to look at cause. We got to look at what's going on inside. We got to look at where our beliefs are falling every day of our lives. Where are these coming from? Dr. Murphy writes, the law of life is the law of belief. What's he mean by that? Let's unpack that. The law of life is the law of belief. Well, this is not, Dr. Murphy was a divine science minister, but this is not just religious language. Okay. This is a psychological, spiritual, and practical law for everyone because law is law. It just, it is. It's the same. Gravity, the sum total of a triangle, whether it's above the earth or underwater, all that. The law of mathematics, the laws of music. Same thing here, not religious language. Psychological, spiritual, practical law. What you deeply accept, and here's what it is: what you deeply accept as true often becomes embodied in your life. The law of belief. What you deeply accept as true often becomes embodied in your life. Your beliefs influence how you interpret events, how you feel, how you act, what you expect, what you notice, what you attract. There's that word again, right? What you attract. Belief is not passive. You have to be really clear on that. Belief is not passive. And this is not about telling you what to believe. That's your business. But but no, belief is not passive. It is directive. And there's a difference. For example, if someone deeply believes that they are capable, they move through life differently. They speak differently. They take risks differently. They recover from setbacks differently. Meanwhile, someone who deeply believes they are destined to fail, often unconsciously, often they withdraw, they hesitate, and they confirm that belief. We see it all the time. Just become an observer. I said a while back, I'm going to pull out the term I used to use all the time, and here's a good time for it. Notice what you're noticing. You can see this. People confirm this. The belief shapes the behavior. We have to make an impact at the level of our own behavior, right? So here's where this gets really, really interesting. Most people don't walk around thinking, I have a belief system. We just don't. It's just not, it's not what you do. They don't walk around thinking that. Instead, beliefs often feel like reality itself. That's what makes them so powerful. For example, if someone has carried the belief, I'm not good enough for many years, right? Well, they no longer experience it as a thought. They experience it as truth, right? It has outpictured itself. And once a belief feels like truth, it quietly influences everything. Everything. That's why this work is so important. What are you believing about you, about your life? How you enter a room, how you respond to opportunity. Everything is influenced by this belief. How you interpret silence, how you read people's reactions, how quickly you recover from setbacks. This is why two people can experience the same event and walk away with completely different meanings. One person sees feedback as growth, another sees it as personal failure, maybe even an attack. Same event, right? Different belief, different meaning, different emotional response, different future behavior. That's key. This is the law of belief in action. The behavior shapes the result. Then the result seems to prove the belief, right? This is why all our beliefs become loops, right? I say that we're so often unconscious competence because we live from our beliefs and they dictate our thought patterns, our habitual behavior, our habitual thoughts, our habitual words, our habitual actions, all dictated by our beliefs. So now let's make this personal. Living in this loop, what do you currently believe about yourself? Just sit with that for a minute. Make some notes here. Remember, I'm all about application and action. And I'm going to remind you that most people put little to no value on that which you get for free. And even though you're getting this for free, don't make the mistake of putting little value on this information. This is gold. I don't know why I'm doing it for free. Hopefully, you're going to reach out and want to work with me and go deeper and go deeper and deeper, deeper into these shadows and allow me to be the one that sees the blind spots for you and your company. But let's look at this. What do you currently believe about yourself? About your future? When you think about that, what do you believe about your future? What do you believe about money? So many people, even people on this, man, I teach prosperity. I That's how I started in all of this, really. I'm a master prosperity teacher. And so many people just live in that lack and limitation. I see prosperity groups at churches and stuff, and what do they have? They do have prosperity class one night, and then the next night they have a coupon cutting group. That's all fine and good, but what about the energy around that? Lack and limitation, right? So what do you currently believe about all of this? Yourself, your future, money, health, about love, about aging. We do a lot about health, even more so, health and physical fitness space. That's one of the major life goals. Remember, when we talk about goals with you, we're talking about finance and career, mental and educational, social and cultural, physical and health, spiritual and ethical, family and home, and your legacy and what you want for you. About all these things, what do you believe about all these things? What do you believe about possibility and your own infinite potential? Many people never pause long enough to examine this. And I'm doing more and more work in the health and wellness, specifically around weight release and shedding excess weight, getting healthier, and doing all that because I've been on this path for quite some time, off and on, the famous yo yo diet. But I finally found something that worked for me and just, released an excess 60 pounds. So a lot of people are asking me about that, but it's all, did I believe, what are our beliefs about us, ourselves, and our physical bodies, about what's possible? So I talk to people all the time, and I'm asking you right now as a listener deep into this program here today to realize that nobody stops long enough to examine this. Sit with a pen and page and just, man, just take a look. Just have a look within. And it's so important that we do this and examine this because the inner belief system is often driving outer experience. Got that? The inner belief system is often driving outer experience. Dr. Murphy teaches that the subconscious mind responds to belief as law. Doesn't know the difference. It's fact. This individual I'm sharing this human suit with, a mind, I'm part of this. I'm accepting, this is subconscious mind speaking, I'm accepting this belief as truth. And then I will model responses and actions, vibration and frequency all around this belief. Whether it's actually absolute truth or worded in absolute truth or just a relative truth makes no difference, even if it's completely false. For instance, the belief in lack and limitation and I'm not good enough and I have no potential at all for my life. That's false, but your subconscious mind is going to accept it as true and everything that shows up will revolve around that because you're not consciously directing your vibration, your frequency, and your actions. Your subconscious mind is running in the background, running the program. So the subconscious mind responds to belief as law. So important, so key for you to know that. This means what you consistently accept. I mean, throughout your day, too. I mean, not just a belief system established when you were younger. Yes, that too. That's deeply ingrained. But every day, we're bombarded, especially in this day and age. We sit down in front of the computer, and we're bombarded with Google and ads and algorithms and social media and content and content and content and emails and then the news and the radio. It's all coming at us, right? So whatever we accept, and we accept, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, seeing is believing. I saw that. It becomes instruction, right? And even just taking in the content itself, you might repeat, I'm always overwhelmed every day. It's the same thing. Hey, if that's the case, make sure you get in this effective personal productivity. Quick little plug there. But if you're repeating that, I'm always overwhelmed. Your mind is going to organize around overwhelm. It's how we're wired. We all are. If you repeat, I never have enough, the mind organizes around lack. I'm working with an organization right now. No, we can't. We can't contribute. We can't give. We can't tithe. We can't. No way. There's no way we can do that. There's not enough. Well, the foundation of your organization is around tithing and giving. You have to. But if you're entrenched and believe you never have enough, you got some work to do because your mind's going to organize around lack, and your organization will organize around lack if there's groupthink involved. That's another talk for another show. If you repeat, I always find a way, right? The mind begins looking for solutions. Belief changes attention. Belief also creates expectation, and expectation changes the way we show up. If you expect life to support you, you move differently. If you expect opportunities, you notice them. If you expect healing, you begin cooperating with it. But if you expect disappointment, you often unconsciously prepare for it. This is why expectation, I talk about it a lot because it's why expectation is so powerful. It shapes perception, it filters reality, it influences behavior. And over time, results often begin to match the inner expectation. We don't get what we want, we get what we expect. I drive that home every time I have a conversation. What are you expecting? It's not so much what you want, what you're wishing for. What do you expect? I have the intention that I am going to make this manifest. I'm going to accomplish this goal, accomplish my objective. I'm moving in the direction. I'm working every day on what matters most. I have my priorities in alignment. I'm using the tools available to me, and I'm moving in the direction of my goals and dreams, and I believe I will achieve them by. There's a way we structure all this. So notice what you are expecting. What is the inner expectation? So I really want you to sit with this week. All of you. We all of us, because we got to catch ourselves. And I do a show like this on this topic, and I pull out some material. It's like, yeah, I need that reminder too. All right. So I'm talking to myself. I know I'm preaching to the choir in certain cases. In fact, I have people that are distributing this show for me on their platforms and posting it that really need to listen to this. All of us do. But we need to apply it and take action in our own lives, right? Yours truly included, because our results are going to match that inner expectation. So sit with it this week. Sit with this. What am I expecting from life right now? Right now, what am I expecting from life? Because expectation, we look the other way, right? We do some reverse engineering here, because expectation reveals belief. You're not sure what you believe in? Well, what are you expecting? What are you expecting from life? That expectation will reveal a portion, not all, of your belief structure. And belief often reveals the story that you've been living from. And a lot of people don't know this. They don't know what these deeply ingrained beliefs are. So how did you start your day today? What are you expecting today? It's going to be another day like yesterday. I can tell it now. And where are the complaints? Well, I'm going to be the victim today. They're coming at me again. It's going to be another one of those days. I'm not looking forward to this, right? Well, that expectation's revealing your belief because you believe in that. And then your day's going to shape itself around that. You will become attractive to those people, events, circumstances, situations, excuse me, that support that. And it reveals the story you've been living from. Attention changes outcome. So that's why I'm calling this to your attention right now. Attention changes outcome. Now, this is not simplistic positivity. I'm not saying, I have a positive attitude, it'll change everything. I'm not doing that. It's not what we're talking about here. There's two sides of the coin at work, the negative side and the positive side. Yes, indeed. But what is your belief structure, and what has shaped your beliefs? Did you sit with the beliefs? Why do I believe in what I believe in? Why do I believe this about me and my situation? Why do I believe that? Where did that come from? Then you start to let this thing unravel, and you find so many things are not true at all. And you can then start to build on a foundation of absolute truth, right? We can talk about that more another time or in a one-on-one call. So this is not simplistic positivity. This is about conscious mental conditioning, because we're rewiring, we're reprogramming. The mind becomes what it repeatedly rehearses. And that's how we impact and influence the subconscious mind, where this programming and this belief system lives. So we want to work on this. That's why we have people write down their objectives and their goals over and over and over again, using their hand, not typing them, writing them down by hand. Use your non-dominant hand too. Really etches some grooves in the subconscious neural pathways. Conscious mental conditioning. The mind becomes what it repeatedly rehearses. So that's why we work with affirmations a lot. That's why we work with visual affirmations. So I want to challenge you today. All right. I want to challenge you. Notice your dominant beliefs. Just notice them. That's where we start, especially the quiet ones. Where's this coming from? Just notice it for right now. The ones beneath the surface, not the obvious ones. We can all do that. That's easy. But what about the ones beneath the surface? I'm expecting this. What is the belief it's rooted in? Where's this coming from? Why did I adopt this belief? What happened in my life that I had some thought conditioning that built this? Quiet ones, the ones beneath the surface, the ones you rarely question and ask, is this belief serving my growth? Does it align with truth? Or is it inherited fear? Because many beliefs are not chosen. That's really the paradox in all of this. Many beliefs are not chosen. They're absorbed. We absorb them. We have absorbed them from a very young age. Some, man, they were passed through, I believe they're passed through genetics, but we absorb them. We absorb beliefs from family, from culture, right? From society, from past pain, from old failures. But absorbed beliefs can be rewritten. And that is where freedom begins. This week, begin consciously planting new belief. Start simple. Replace I can't with I am capable. Replace it's too late with I am still becoming. Replace nothing changes with transformation is already underway. And that excites me. And that feeling tone is important. Belief is not magic. It is alignment, alignment with what is actually true and moving out of the alignment with what has actually been false. Life often reflects what consciousness deeply, deeply accept. That's the key takeaway here. Life often reflects what consciousness deeply accepts. What are you accepting? That is the power within. This is all the definition of the power within because you have the ability to influence and to impact this whole structure, to drill deep a new belief structure, an infrastructure. It's a good way to look at it. Just dropped in. I love divine inspiration. Within, right? Infrastructure, inner structure, inner programming, right? A new belief system. Yes, I am capable. Yes, I can do things in a different way. Yes, the power of perception allows me to see things from on high, not from where I was, from a negative perspective or a lower perspective where I didn't see the whole picture or didn't even realize that my perspective was based on false beliefs, beliefs that I don't even know where they came from because I got some inner work to do, some examination to do. Boy, this starts to unravel and man, you start doing this work and you start putting this back together in the right way. That's how we make the quantum leaps that I'm talking about. It does seem like magic. It's not, but it does seem like it because you can indeed make those quantum leaps. It's like, wow. Wow, I'm installing this new program and I am on fire. And that's what I want you to do, to be on fire with all of this. Reprogram the subconscious mind. That's what we're going to talk about the next episode I've gone on today. Thank you for being with me. Don't miss next week, reprogramming the subconscious mind. We're going to go deep into all this because I get excited about it and I can just keep going and going and going and going and going. I want to respect your time for this episode. And that next one will build beautifully on today's episode. So until next time, I want to remind you you've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast with me, Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmyna. And you know what? I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.